Welcome to Film Crusade. So, um, what were we talking about, Amari?
We are talking about Everything Everywhere All at Once. That is quite the name for this film. Quite the name.
Yeah. Since you summarized Elvis last time, I guess I'll summarize this one. Um, People really be doing taxes.
That's No, I mean that's yeah.
That's it. Yeah.
Yeah, that's pretty much it. Yeah, that's pretty much it. No, but I mean like man, what is to be said about this? Because I've seen this like I know I've definitely seen it twice. I know that for a fact.
Didn't you watch it a third time with your mom?
I did. There we go. Okay, three times. I'm thinking about like my theater experience, and then you watched it three times, right?
Yep. Once on
Yeah,
my own, once with my mom and grandmother, and then once with my little brother and his girlfriend.
yeah. No, I definitely. This was an awesome film. This was like really, really good.
Yeah, kind of unexpected. Like I enjoyed the trailer, and then you were kind of like, "Oh, it was cute. Maybe
Yeah,
it'll be
no,
good."
yeah. I was kind of okay with it. Like, I mean, I didn't watch Swiss Army Man. I was going to, but then I just wound up not doing it. I don't know why. But I was definitely like okay with the trailer, and then the movie was just, or the film was just like that was I was just not expecting all that. I thought it might be weird, like because of this, the things I've heard about Swiss Army Man and things I've kind of like maybe the one or two things I've seen from it, the one thing really, and just the premise alone, I kind of thought it was gonna be like just more of that, but it was just surprisingly emotional. Like from the first shot of the whole thing, like I don't know why, but I felt a certain way. It kind of like summarized everything in that one shot.
Yeah. Fun fact: in that opening shot, there, her like lip syncing to "Barbie Girl,"
Oh, they are?
which
Okay, okay. I was wondering what they were.
which was actually supposed to like play a part in the movie itself, and then they like nixed it because they were like, it's kind of like there was supposed to be a part near the end where all the characters sang "Barbie Girl" together
Mhm.
in a parking lot. Trying to be vague here just in case some people, but there's like a parking lot scene where they were supposed to break out into the song, and they filmed it, and then they're like, this doesn't work. So they just kind of got rid of all the references. But yeah, this is a multiverse movie for people who say they don't like multiverses, um, such as like the Marvel MCU stuff, the DCEU, all that kind of stuff. This is that multiverse movie.
It's weird though, because it's like everything kind of like happened. Like we got there was No Way Home, then there's also everything everywhere all at once. There's I mean obviously you got Rick and Morty or whatever like that, but it was and then you got Doctor Strange. It was weird. It's like the timing of when it came out is so like everything just wanted to be multiverse or just decided to become do multiverse stories and stuff. So it was just a weird coincidence.
You also watched, which I didn't, Space Jam 2. So, and I've
Do
heard
we
there's
count that?
some. I mean, I don't know because I
I don't
haven't
really
seen Space Jam 2.
I don't really count it. I think it's just like you just go into different, you know, places. It's not really different. I mean, you're going to different worlds. So I guess in a sense, I
It's bringing Warner Brothers
fuck.
together
Oh my
in one
god, fuck
movie.
it. Yeah, I guess it does kind of count, I guess, if you think of it that way. But I was pleasantly surprised at the fact that how much of this was like how much of this film like they were able like how much story they crammed into this and it
Yeah,
doesn't feel like it's crammed. Like you have to
yeah,
introduce the multiverse story, or just the multiverse in general, like their rules or whatever like that. And then characters, then your antagonists, and then you got to meld all that. And I feel like the multiverse itself is something that's very broad
yeah,
and not a lot of people do it because of the fact that like time travel, you can have your rules about time travel, and every movie like Terminator and stuff like that, you can set up your rules and stuff like that, what needs to happen in like how they perceive time in that one film. But like multiverse stuff is kind of like so broad because you're dealing with like different versions of something, and then how many versions are you going to be able to put on screen? How many do you want to put on screen? How many sort of story? How many are going to be fun? So it's a like for an almost 2.5 hour movie, it does a really damn good job, I feel.
Yeah. I know there's some people who have complained that the movie kind of runs out of steam near the end, or they wish it could have been like 20 minutes shorter. And I can understand that, but I personally disagree because I love every minute of the movie.
Oh yeah.
And I wouldn't like they even cut stuff from it that they were like, oh, we cut 10 whole minutes out of this. That was another universe. But and that had its own climax because all these universes and all these different versions of Evelyn, played wonderfully by Michelle Yeoh, have like their own character arc and what they're going through. So they have each their own climax. So it feels like 20 movies in one in some sense.
Yeah.
So they have to pay each of those movies off by the end. Like it's mainly about one particular Evelyn, not Evan. Um, but even if it's about her, as she gets interested in these other universes and these different versions of herself, you find you have to wrap up those stories as well. And I'm never bored with that. And I would have loved if they could have included their other universe that they wanted to include, but it was a bit out there when all was said and done because it was about talking spaghetti noodles and things like that.
Yeah.
And
I
um,
mean, like the emotional core of the whole thing is really, really good. I feel like with like, well, I mean, obviously, if any film, you gotta have that, but especially with this one, I was just really surprised of um, like how much an emotional core this movie had. Like, you would think it was gonna be like a nice, fun adventure and stuff. And I keep this happened to me with bodies, where I'm expecting one thing like and then I'm getting like I'll get a total whiplash. Like I forget that like yeah, I know the whole thing about it's an A24 film and whatnot. Like I get that whole thing, but like yeah, I mean you can't help it when you watch when you hear the premise and you're like, okay, that sounds too sci-fi. Who's distributing this? Who's doing this? Oh, A24. Oh, okay, cool. It's gonna be good then. And then you
yeah,
watch like the first like literally the first shot of the movie, like, and it's just like, right, I am in an A24 movie. Like they do like care about their characters. I mean the director, I mean the Daniels, of course, did a fantastic job directing this. And like a lot like I mean, it's just damn, it's just so damn good. Like I've seen this like yeah, like 3 times. It's so fucking good every single time I see it.
yeah, it plays really well no matter like who's in the audience. I think this is one of those movies that I mean people get upset about it either way they feel on it because there's the people who hate it who are like, why are people so in love with this movie? And there's the people who are in love with it who hate on the people who hate it. Kind of antithetical to the film's whole message of being kind to people. But you know, it's such an like harmless movie when all is
Yeah.
said and done,
Oh hell yeah.
but it like boasts some good messages. It has great performances. It has all these like fun, entertaining parts. I'm excited for whatever the Daniels have next, though it could be another Swiss Army Man that's a bit more divisive. Like I enjoy Swiss Army Man as well because like most A24 things, it's not exactly what you'd expect it to be. It's a movie about, you know, a farting corpse played by Daniel Radcliffe and a suicidal dude. And then it ends up being kind of like Everything Everywhere All at Once, unexpectedly really emotional. And you're like, why am I crying my eyes out over the farting corpse movie?
I mean,
Um,
I also I have to give it up on you mentioned it, like not mentioned, but like talking about the Daniels, I gotta give it up for the fight scenes. Like
yeah,
I was really waiting for some great like I mean I knew there's gonna be some fighting in this just based on the trailers, and I wasn't quite sure how they're gonna tackle it, but like no, they did a damn good job. Like a really good job with those fight scenes. Like nice wide shots, great cuts, great stunt work, and
Yeah,
like it's just like damn, like I was just not excited to just go for it. And when you was talking about like it's not something not what you expected, like I'm glad that they kind of embrace the goofiness
yeah,
of like just because they are like pretty goofy like directors from what it like I mean Swiss Army Man just the premise alone I remember listening to the premise and I was like oh like yeah like what you mentioning stuff like that and just yeah like a farting corpse you're kind of just like oh okay that's the film. Okay, that's weird. But in this one, you get like, and this is in the trailers, of course, but like hot dog for hands. There's a lot of other stuff
yeah,
that goes on in there. That's a one particularly involving like that's in a office space kind of thing. That's just really, I think you know what I'm talking about. Which is just
yeah,
really fucking funny. And it's just they just embrace a lot of goofiness of it, and it's just like I can see people getting turned off by that, like when it does go into that territory.
yeah,
But at the same time, though, like I can't help but be like, well, I mean, people are goofy, people have their weird things, like you can't
yeah,
deny it and stuff like that. But the message of the whole movie is about loving, just being kind and just loving, and
yeah,
it's nice that like I didn't even care about the goofiness. Like it put me off for like 2 seconds, but then I was like, it's a nice message. It's sweet. It's a sweet movie. Like I can't get mad at it.
yeah. I mean, it's very much a let movies be fun again because I feel like a lot of people have complained, rightfully so, in some cases, that movies are too serious these days. In some cases, I'm like, well, some movies just have to be serious. But
Listen, man,
um,
I blame Nolan. No, I'm joking.
I mean, Nolan is a contender for one of the reasons why so many movies that are supposed to be entertaining are now, oh, they have to be serious. And
I
there's
mean,
no
that's
issue with that. It's
yeah.
just movies can be fun and we can still enjoy fun stuff. Like we can go back to having some fun at the movies rather than, oh yeah, this slasher movie isn't really a slasher movie. It's about grief and faith and all this kind of stuff. And I'm like, okay, I'll still watch it, because I'll watch most things anyway.
I think
But
that yeah.
some
I
movies are so afraid of having fun. And this is an A24 movie that actually gets to have fun, where usually it's like subverting the genre to be more serious and like gut wrenching and all this kind of stuff. And I love that. I still love that. But Everything Everywhere finally got the studio to kind of jump up a bit and be like, oh, here's something fun and lighthearted. And there's moments of serious emotion and kind of devastating stuff, but it's all in kindness, all in love with that message. Um, it's just a good movie. And it's
I
an original movie that takes so much from other great films. Like you mentioned the fights, and I'm like, yeah, those are good fights, even if it's like Matrix and before that Hong Kong cinema and all these different martial arts things. But it's a continuation of that I feel movies have to embrace that. Yeah, sometimes we do take a lot from our past in order to have fun now, but it's just good. It's it's so good.
I feel like most of this review is just saying like how good the movie is.
Yeah,
But you were saying like about movies need to need to learn how to be fun again and stuff like that. And it's like I think Matthew Vaughn was saying that. Matthew Vaughn like he like was saying like this is like years ago, but like around when the first Kingsman was coming out. I think he was like I don't know if he was talking about the superhero genre, but I remember him talking about films and he was like, well, such a dark like ever since he's respected Nolan for doing the Dark Knight trilogy, but he was like, I
yeah,
feel like, but he felt that we've matured past that now, and
yeah,
now we're kind of like we should have movies, should go back to being, or not go back, but like you can have fun in your movies. Like it's fine to like, have a good time, have like a kind of Spielberg, with ET and Raiders, just have fun at the movies again, and I think a lot of studios now, or I think since the Dark Knight there is this need that they need to have everything be serious because the Dark Knight was so successful. But I think the succession of the Dark Knight was because of the fact that it told a mature story, but that doesn't mean it needs to be dark,
Yeah.
like, but also it's Batman. Like it's like people
Also,
like,
The Dark Knight has moments of humor in it.
yeah,
Like,
like like a pencil going through someone's eye socket, that's nice. That's funny.
yeah, I mean, I was just talking more Joker overall as a
Oh,
character.
yeah, 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 yeah. Yeah, no,
But
yeah, no, totally, totally, dude. Yeah.
um but it's,
Not any therapist. No,
movies feel the need to be serious, and it's kind of funny that Matthew Vaughn said that way back with the first Kingsman, because I love the first Kingsman, and it is kind of like, oh, let's have fun again. And then most recently we've had the Kingsman, and he's now falling prey to that. Oh, everything has to be serious and everything has to be tied together into this intricate web of,
yeah.
like, the I'm going to spoil a different movie here. Spoilers for The King's Man, but the mid credits tease of Adolf Hitler, truly, like, Matthew Vaughn is running out of goodwill for me.
I mean,
And I enjoyed The Golden Circle for what it was, and I was
that is a choice.
devastated by The King's Man. Yeah.
It's funny. I think I prefer the King's Man over the Golden Circle.
Well, I think I prefer The Golden Circle because The Golden Circle is still fun. I think
I mean,
that's
it's
one of,
Elton John. I mean, I can't disagree with you on that one. I mean, like, I can't, like, your points that are valid, not gonna lie. But
yeah,
like, I think with going back to like everything, though, it's like everything everywhere. I feel like we just call it everything. I think it's pretty
yeah.
funny. But like that, I don't know. It's just that movie or that film in general is just like It's just really really nice. And you were talking about borrowing different styles and different, like, the Hong Kong action, but you got some one car white. Oh my God, I'm so sorry for butchering that name.
Yeah.
Like some of his films, with certain, like, certain different universes and stuff. Like that was nice. You got, a little bit of, I can't spoil a lot, but that's one kind of spoilerish.
A certain Pixar movie that is one
Yeah,
of our favorite Pixar movies.
yeah, and it's just like, I mean, him, like, the Daniels borrowing different styles to elevate their film is really really great. I mean, that's what I love the most about, because, like, yeah, I mean, there is the whole thing about every idea has already been, like, told, or every idea has already been, like, kind of done, but it's just about how you, like, it's about taking it and making something, like, making it your own. And I think the Daniels do a great job of doing that. And there's some other directors out there I do know that do the same thing, that they kind of borrow from some of their favorite films, and then they kind of amplify theirs. Where I feel as though another director or another writer would have, like, kind of just ripped it off and
Yeah.
not have any, like, anything to back it up other than the fact to say, like, we just did it, but
And I
try to
do
pass it
think
off.
the fundamental idea of the movie is, like, taking these old things because you can't really make something fully original, and making it your own, making it with love. That's part of the whole message of the movie too. Like, infinite amount of universes out there, and most of them, like, don't have life at all when you really think about it philosophically. So it's every idea that most people could think of in terms of the Hollywood landscape has already been made. So all you can do is bring your own personal spin to what's been done before. I still think there's some amount of originality left in Hollywood. Whether or not they choose to exploit that is another thing. Um, but yeah, I think the Daniels are using a multiverse story to say something about the world, about cinema, about life in general. And the homaging of old films and different directors even enhances that all the more.
Yeah.
Like,
No, and I think it's something like I think with their message about their other message that we've been talking about, which is like, oh, just be kind and, like, love and stuff. I think that's such a nice message. I think I think Marcel, the Shell, where she was on. I know you haven't seen it, but I think that is another film by A24,
um,
another film that does kind of have that kind of similar message, and I think it's really nice because I think I mean we're coming out of, or we're not coming out of, but like we are progressing through what like happened in 2020, you know, the COVID virus
COVID.
that happened, you know, in 2020. I feel like I was about to like go on this whole thing about like, oh, you know, the event that happened in 2020. Everyone's like, what the fuck happened in 2020? It's like, oh no, COVID, you know. But like,
Well, just the world went
just the
into
world going to shit.
disarray,
Yeah.
and chaos has erupted even more so than the classic film Babe, Pig in the City, directed by George Miller.
Oh my God.
Um,
Just fucking just well, you watch that reason. You know what? I'll watch it one day. You know, fuck it.
yeah, you
Like,
should. And the original Babe.
oh
You should
my
watch both
God.
of them.
So that's see, that's how you get trapped. That's how you get trapped. So when you told me to watch Paddington 2, I'm like, well, Paddington 1. Oh, before you were like, oh, well, you don't need
Yeah.
to see Paddington 1. And I was like, no, I need to see it because the story. Later on, before I watch both movies, you're like, yeah, we should totally watch Paddington 1. I don't know what I was talking about. And I was like, come on, man. So you bait people. You watch the sequel. What about the first one? Oh, right. You have to watch the first one. Whoops, I guess you gotta watch both movies now.
With Babe, it's so
Okay.
interesting because the first one's such a heartwarming movie that, like, that'll do pig. It's all the rage. And then the second one's like, okay, you loved that central relationship between the farmer and the pig. And what if we just took the farmer out of it for most of it and had this crazy side quest that included all these different chase scenes? And it's very much like Mad Max movie Babe the Pig style. And it's very weird, and I loved it to
Oh my
pieces.
God.
Anyway, I try not to
Well,
bring
I
up
mean, I don't
future
know.
reviews.
It's nice that like it's nice that this film like everything was able to do something like that, and I'm glad how successful it got too. Like I was surprised when the numbers came in terms of its box office, and it kept growing from that point
Yeah,
on. Like, because you would think like a movie like this, like I thought, I thought I was like, oh, this is such a, it's like I thought it was like the well, comparing it to 2049, like we like 2049, we thought it was a great movie, and I was like, this is really good. I don't think a lot of people are gonna vibe with this or like maybe like it. They might just like turn it on one day and just be like, ah, whatever. And so, but I was
yeah,
just so surprised, like by the fact that the numbers came in and it kept growing from that point on. I think it got a re-release right in theaters.
yeah. I think
Yeah,
so.
and it got re-released, and then I was like, in the DVD sales, obviously, and it's just like in the also streaming, uh,
Yeah, I bought it on 4K like the day it came out or whatever.
yeah, and it's just, and I was like, that was good, and I remember even seeing, I think the best, like one of the best parts about seeing that this film was when you see it again, right, and you go with friends, right? Um, I went with a group of friends in New York, and I remember like I sat like in the middle, and they're like, like here, whatever, like that. And by the end of it, I was like, okay, they either loved it, they didn't love it, or it was half and half. I was so happy that it was just everybody loved it. Like I turned around, I got people like getting like get the feels and stuff, and I was like, all right, cool, this is good. And nothing was better than seeing reactions like just and it's just something that is just great. And I don't know. I mean, I'm glad everybody's seeing it, right? I'm glad even like um my mother's coworkers, they're like, oh, have you like they're talking to my mom about have you seen everything everywhere all at once and stuff. And like I'm like, oh my God, it's getting word of mouth, like even like, all right, cool, this is nice. I don't know, it's just that is cool that an independent film such as that with an original
Yeah,
concept got that much fame. Like
yeah,
it's so great.
yeah. And
That's
even it's yeah, it's a movie that means a lot to you and I. It's like just an original movie, not just your 3 times a year Marvel movie that comes out.
yeah, and yeah.
Which we see those.
You sound so pissed when you say that. We see those. It's
Yeah.
odd.
I still like some of them, so I can't be too judgmental. But of the overall Disney chokehold on things, that's where I'm a little bit more angry.
I mean,
But
it's just. I mean, it's
especially with movies like this that prove that audiences can be accepting of something smaller and something a bit more interesting and something out of the ordinary. Um, but still, it was kind of like, although it was really successful and the most successful film in A24's history, it's like chump change compared to the stuff that like Thor: Love and Thunder and Doctor Strange is making. And of course, right now, like our big movie of the year financially is still last year's Spider-Man: No Way Home, which I still have not watched, and Top Gun Maverick, which Top Gun Maverick is a really good one.
That is a
We
really
might have to do a review of that one once I rewatch it.
yeah. That is a really damn good. That's fucking amazing. This is a great
I'm
film.
glad that's made a lot of money. Um, Even if it is like sequel and previous IP, it's one of those films that actually like builds on its source material and is kind of effective in what it's doing and not just manipulating audiences and getting them emotional, but like sturdy, well done filmmaking like you rarely see in blockbusters these days. Um,
Well, I was actually gonna ask you, would you count Everything Everywhere as a blockbuster?
Not necessarily.
Because
I
I
mean, it made back its budget,
yeah,
which is good, but and it was very successful. But
their budget was small. Like that was a small budget.
yeah,
Or for
I think it was
like
25
for those,
million
yeah, like for those who haven't like seen it, like it's incredible. Like, and when you do eventually see it, and people who have seen it, like you look at the whole film and you're like, that's a lot of shit they did. And like, how was the budget? And it was like what, 46 mil? Something like that.
max. I
Max
think it was like I thought it was like 25 to 40,
25 to
but
40, something like that. And I was just like, damn.
but it's also like when you think about certain things, like it looks so good, and yet it was six people in the VFX team.
Are you serious? It was 6 people?
Yeah,
Oh
and
God.
meanwhile, Marvel is coming under fire for all their union crap that they're not doing well with their VFX artists,
Well,
which
no,
is another reason that maybe they should be
you
brought down
gotta
a peg
take
or two.
like you gotta take a lot of time and love and care to every film. Like you gotta like it's
Yeah,
not just like a well-oiled machine. I mean, yeah, I mean it becomes a well-oiled machine like during the making of it or whatever like that. But like it's not like you gotta like, spend time on it and stuff. And the reason why some of the best VFX we've seen ever in history, like in film, is just because they took the time to sit down. All right, we're working on this, maybe another project here because that's maybe someone else wants to make another project, or that just happens. But like you're taking your time on stuff, and there's a lot of TLC in there, so like
yeah,
it's definitely, and just hearing the fact there's only 6 people, and I can't even tell. Maybe some moments obviously. But then again, I could say like, oh, maybe this was VFX, and it turns out it's just freaking practical, and I wouldn't even know because they did a lot of practical shit in this movie,
yeah,
which was really really cool, and it's nice. I love practical effects. Oh my god, like just
yeah.
a minute here just to praise
You
practical
can
effects.
you
Like,
can tell the difference, though. I do think there's reasons why VFX stuff does work well. Like we talked, we'll talk about this whenever we talk about Prey and Nope. But like, I think we can move past using real animals most of the time these days. Like, I'm not some huge animal rights activist per se, but I think CGI is good enough at this point and kind of just healthier for the world anyway, for not just always using real animals. Like there's sometimes
oh
when
yeah,
it's
no.
acceptable,
I mean,
but
I don't think so, just because it's kind of like you're doing take after take after take,
yeah,
and
and
that's just stressful just to animals in general. Like you're doing 1,001 different takes,
yeah,
something. And I think that's when VFX can be put into use. Like when you can't do it, what I'm saying? Like physically.
yeah,
That's when it should be used. Um, but if you're gonna use it, you gotta use it. Don't like don't sweat out your employees because you're like, we were too lazy. Fuck it. You guys can fix it in post.
well, it was also like with Marvel, for example, it's like they choose the release dates before the film has even started production.
Yeah,
So
like
then like the VFX has like 1 month to crunch everything in before they start screening it for critics and screening it at the red carpet and all this kind of stuff. And then people are like, man, the VFX have started to go downhill. And it's because all these deadlines that people are given. And, there's the Marvel bootlickers who are like, well, if you don't want to do those kinds of deadlines, don't work for Marvel. I'm
Yeah.
like, okay, you're excusing the fact that they exploit their laborers at this point. Like, these are people who are dedicated to working on the movies that you watch 3 times in theaters a year for each movie. Like, typically, like, these people will go crazy and watch movies over and over again like that. And then they'll be like, oh, the VFX is bad. And then they'll be like, oh, the people are trying to get better conditions. Yeah.
Yeah. No, it's honestly a shame. And oh my God,
Yeah.
we I think we spent so much time talking about the philosophies and the stories of everything everywhere. The cast,
Yeah. The
fucking
cast.
amazing. Michelle Yeoh, obviously amazing. Oh my God, like we went to like, I mean, I know the movie.
Kiki Kwan, my love, my life.
Oh yeah,
I mean, we still have so many films left to watch this year, but currently my pick for supporting actor. Um,
fantastic work. Honestly,
yeah,
just made me cry almost like a bunch of times.
yeah,
So
and he is a lot like me, so it's nice to see a
just,
character.
I mean, it was nice to just to see him in another film again and just. I mean,
Yeah,
it's my second time. I mean, it's like third film I've seen him in, really. So, like, yeah, I think everybody can guess what the first two.
yeah,
But like, but it's just not. I mean, he was such a great addition, honestly. And oh my God, it's just like he stole the show the most for me, honestly, because he was
yeah,
just so damn like just so sweet, so charming, so like charismatic, and it's just God, man, I got almost made me cry. Who'd have guessed?
yeah,
Oh, it's just, I mean, I think a lot of this was, I mean, a lot of us talking about this was more just about the philosophies of everything everywhere, because you can't help but think that with everything everywhere. Like, it's such a great film. And I think with that, you just can't help but start to think about certain things, like that the film presents, like certain questions it presents and certain like ideas it does. And it's just, or ideas it presents. And it's just, I don't know, it's just, like I remember having like a whole debate about, or not a debate, like a whole conversation about just like just a whole philosophical discussion with my friends after seeing it, just because you can't help but think that when a film comes like this, because the film just feels special. It's a very like special film that comes out like every once in a while.
and
And
I'd argue it's even more special for you and me and our generation of film goers because it is kind of something made by someone that's this two people that are near the bottom of their generation, near the top of our generation. So it feels like something we would make. And it's also kind of like a message for us of like that our parents love us and that, yeah, nothing really matters, but why not enjoy every day anyway?
yeah, no,
Um,
it's and it's just like, I mean, it's just, I forgot the line, but it's in the trailer, and it's like it's a it's a damn good line. Like I think the I can go anywhere. I think in the like in any universe in the world or something like that. I'm
yeah,
paraphrasing.
it can go anywhere, anytime, but I pick this moment, being here with you every time or whatever it is.
Yeah,
It's not that. That's way cheesier than what it is. But it's that
it's. I mean, like,
essence.
I mean that line is just, it's a very true line. I mean, like, because I mean, we're not parents yet, but we have felt like an immense love for somebody at one point, and
Yeah.
it's almost like you're choosing that. You can do anything else, or you can be anywhere else. You can go see a movie or whatever, but you choose to just stay in that moment with somebody and just
Yeah.
be there, like just present. And it's, I don't know, it's nice. See, this is what I mean. It's like the movie presents
Yeah.
philosophical thought.
It's great in all the respects you want us to talk about, like the cinematography, the editing, the acting, the writing, the directing. It's all really great. The music is awesome. Any movie, and I am willing to say contractually that maybe I'll change my mind eventually, but any movie that ends with end credit song that has David Byrne in it is a good movie. So there's that. But it's good in all those respects, but it's also good because it provokes discussion, and you talk about the movie with people, and you're like, wow, you should see this movie. It's not like, oh yeah, the acting's great and all this kind of like the way the shots were, yeah, all that too. But it's about, no, this made me feel something. You should watch it.
How is this not number one of the year for you again?
It it might still be.
No, 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 I'm just giving you a
I
hard
don't know.
time. Because what was your number one is it
Well, I need to rewatch Nope, but it might be Nope.
that's that's curious to me. That's well, I mean, then again, you haven't seen Marcel, and I feel like Marcel is
Yeah, and there's other new stuff that will be coming out that will
I'm sorry.
possibly be.
I'm sorry. You're just talking so like like very like what's the word? Just like beautifully. I'm gonna say this about this movie, and then I'm like, nothing wrong with Nope. I feel like we'll talk about this some other time, but like nothing wrong
Yeah,
with Nope. But
I
it's
think,
just like,
aren't we talking about that in just a few minutes, maybe?
oh yeah, probably yeah. So yeah, we'll talk about that. But it's like, yeah, it's like, um, it's just funny to think about.
It's the movie that provokes the most like emotion out of me this year, which
Yeah,
isn't always necessarily the number one movie for me of the year.
that's
Um,
that's fair. I know we've had discussions about like you feel a certain way about something, but then you end up liking this other thing, even though this
yeah,
one thing made you feel a certain way, you still like this other thing.
yeah, like Three Billboards was the movie that made me feel the most about our world. And then like Blade Runner 2049 was the more me movie, that kind of thing.
No, I get that. No, that's fair. That's fair. Yeah, no, but like honestly, I mean, for anybody who hasn't seen it, check it out. It's great.
Yeah. We tried to be as vague as possible. Um, I know one of our listeners was like, I'm not watching your Elvis review until I watch it because you said you had a minor spoiler in it. And I was like, it's a true story, but okay, fine.
But, go see it.
Yeah,
Everything ever all at once. I mean.
yeah.